Hey, what's up? It's the Beachblasters. How you doing? Another Wednesday and another AEW Dynamite here on January 2021. How you doing, partner?
Good.
Nothing going on?
No, not
Okay.
like my car broke down or anything today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of a weirdly specific thing to not happen today.
Yeah, I know. Because it didn't happen today.
Yep. Another nothing happening day, another slow news day in America. Nothing going on. So everybody will be watching AEW Dynamite, which is what we've got here. So let's just jump into it. First off, we've got the Dark Order coming out for -1's birthday party. And he comes out on the shoulders of 10. So if you don't know who -1 is, Brody Lee's son, whom Brody Lee, of course, passed away recently, last month. So we've got -1's birthday party here. And Silver's on the mic. He says it's a big night for the Dark Order. About to get a new handsome cowboy recruit, and it's someone's birthday. The crowd sings happy birthday, and Luther and Serpentico come out. Why? Okay, but they say they don't like -1, and they're gonna ruin his birthday, and it's on. And TH2 comes out to brawl too, and Hangman music hits, and then the best part of the match, or this whole segment, he does a stage dive and wipes out everyone. So before we get into the match, how did you like the match? Before we get into the recap of it.
The match is kind of sloppy, honestly. But
Really?
it was okay.
I actually really like this
You
match.
really like the match?
Yeah.
It was good. It was good for what it was, but it wasn't like a good technical match, I guess. You know what I mean? Like there was just it was just kind of overbooked, I guess. I guess it had to be because it was his birthday thing. I get it.
I get that it was, but I mean, it just made me happy. It was such a good.
It was just for good fun, yeah.
It was like even without his birthday, in the background, in the backstory of the match, it just, it's fun. People.
The story was fun. I like the story. I have to admit, the story was fun. Everyone was playing their parts. Chaos Project, Luther was great. He's like, I don't like kids. And I don't like you. It's like,
I don't care. People, it was just a fun match. Everybody did their moves, and the good guys won. Well, the Dark Order, but they were the good guys in this match. So, the best part about this match is there's a lot of Hangman beating people's ass.
Yeah, that was cool.
Pretty much,
was awesome.
No, they didn't really get too much offense on Hangman. He just kind of beat up the other guys. The Luther, Serpentico, and the TH2 didn't really do too much offense on Hangman. Everybody got to do their signature moves. Hangman does a nice top rope moonsault to the outside, while the Dark Order holds Chaos Project. And this is the best part about it. I'm one of those people who hate dives where they all just stand around and pretend to fight while everybody looks up to make sure make sure they're in place and when the guy's gonna dive so they're ready to catch him. But this made absolutely perfect sense. The Dark Order holds Chaos Project so that Hangman can dive onto him. I don't know why they haven't been doing this all along, Austin.
That was a good point. That was fair. That was a good move.
Another spot. Hangman, he gets a hernia. He's got Silver and Reynolds on his back, and he almost can't lift them, but he does a fall back to crush Serpentico. And Luther was gonna powerbomb Colt Cabana into the cake, but -1 whacks him with the kendo stick. Colt flatjacks him into the cake. They do a triple team. Hangman, Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman do a triple team. Hangman hits the buckshot. Reynolds rolls through on Serpentico for the W. They all give high fives for Hangman. Silver has a hand and mouthful of cake after Luther's sweaty face and body was in it. But okay. So, any other thoughts on the match?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up, man.
Okay. So post-match, Uno and Grayson hold -1. He says, "You want to ruin my birthday? That's not how it works." And he whacks, he whacks Serpentico. He says, "My birthday was 3 days ago, you idiot." And he takes the papers and throws it into Serpentico's face. Brody Lee's old trademark from being the Elite. And yeah, I thought this was very
cool.
Yeah, the storyline was very good. And this actually made me sad because I don't know if I talked about this on air before, but I actually really wasn't all that sad on the Brody Lee tribute show because it felt like even though Brody Lee passed away, it felt like his family was going to be taking care of AEW. But this was really like the part that hit me. It was like this is this kid. He's 9 or 10 now. I don't know which one.
Yeah,
something around that age. And this one really felt sad to me because I think it was Shivani who said something about like his birthday. This is his birthday, his first birthday since his father passed away. And I was just like, what's the big thing you do on a birthday cake, right? You make a wish. And I was like, man, this poor kid, like, I'm sure he would have, as cool as this birthday was for him to be on TV, like be part of a wrestling storyline, get to interact with and have like pretty much a national televised broadcast be devoted to his birthday. I'm sure this guy would rather have just be a normal kid and have his father back instead. And that I'm sure that was his birthday wish, and that kind of really made me sad. But anyway, after the match, Silver is buttering up Hangman. He says, "You're so good. You're really good. You're a really good wrestler. You're handsome, and you have really great hair, and I like you a lot." And Silver gets on one knee and asks Hangman if he will join the Dark Order. And Hangman says, "I can't." And banners fall from the screens. He says he said yes. And some big party goers walk out, but the Dark Order pushes them backstage. And Hangman says he's done the group thing before and it didn't work out, so he says he's sorry. He takes the bottle from Grayson and he walks off. And yeah, what do you think of this part?
That could have gone either way.
Yeah.
I really didn't know how that was going to play out, and they left us hanging. Like, he didn't say anything for a minute or two. So I'm not. I guess I wasn't surprised either way. But
it could have really gone bad where it made Hangman look like a huge dick or something, right?
Actually, now that you mention it, wasn't everybody booing, or was that just
they booing? I didn't really notice. Maybe they were, but I didn't really notice.
I could have swore they were like the crowd was booing, not the wrestlers on the side. Like audible crowd was booing.
I didn't notice, but yeah, if you say so. Yeah.
But it's hard to tell because, a lot of the wrestlers on the side are mic'd up, right? Or mics in their proximity. So it could have been that they sounded louder than they were. But there was booing.
Maybe AEW kind of like lowered the crowd noise because I'm sure they had the foresight to think that, if Hangman says no to the Dark Order after all this stuff with Brody Lee, it's not going to go over well with the fans. And probably people are still like, I don't know. The Dark Order is going to be good guys now. Just nobody's going to
take them for heels. Yeah.
Nobody's going to boo the Dark Order. And I got to say, like, at first I really didn't really get Silver's act, and I really wasn't liking it, but it's turning the corner on me, especially when he did the proposal to Hangman. I really thought that was funny.
His comedic timing is good.
Yeah,
he's really blossoming into a very comedic character on his own, other than just the slapstick,
Yeah.
So what about you? What'd you think?
I just said what I thought, but yeah, it was.
Beyond that, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go with this with Hangman. I don't know if it's just done, but probably not gonna be done, right? If we've know anything about professional wrestling.
It's never done.
It's not over.
Nothing's ever done.
It never is. And so we've got the lineup for tonight, the Inner Circle Tag Team Challenge. Moxley is going to be in action. Penelope Ford versus Leila Hirsch. Sydal and Top Flight versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. Cody Rhodes versus Pretty Peter Avalon. And Sting congratulates the TNT champ next. And at this moment, I thought to myself, really? We're going to have a segment just about Sting congratulating the TNT Championship? Like, what the hell does Team Taz think about this? But we don't know because Team Taz does not have anything to say about this. So a little disappointing, but maybe not for long. So in the back, Marvez is with Jericho and MJF, and MJF says the last thing he wants is the Inner Circle to split up. Jericho says it will bring them together no matter what will happen. They will move together forward and be all good and family and all that crap. And Marvez says, and Jericho asks Marvez, guess who you think I think will win? And Marvez says, you? And he says, you're damn right I do. Me, you stupid idiot. So I thought this was fun, always fun little segment. MJF and Jericho, always good together, always making fun of Marvez. Good.
Perfect promo for those two.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about that?
No, fun with Jericho and MJF is always good. Short and sweet. It was good. Yeah.
So back from the break, Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and for the first time in AEW, we get a "This is Sting," because it's previously it's always been a "It's Sting," but the way he actually used to be introduced, like by the ring announcers, was "This is Sting," and yeah, it was a touchy-feely moment. So Sting comes out, he congratulates Darby. He says he was just trying to make sure he got a fair fight. And I was like, what does Team Taz think about this? And then finally, we get our answer because Team Taz shows up and he says, you guys play dirty. You guys are into the street fighting crap, but that's Taz's game. And he challenges them to a street fight, and Darby accepts. What did you think about this?
The Team Taz segment was fine. I'm starting to get a little, I don't know, bored.
Bored?
A little, I don't know.
Bored with what?
Apathetic about this whole Darby Sting thing. Like,
what?
Okay, they're finally gonna have a match. It's
Sting.
Yeah, it's
Sting.
been like 6 weeks now.
But it's Sting.
Like 8. Yeah.
Do you know how long Do you know how long that NWO versus Sting storyline took? Took like almost a year, man.
Before he actually did anything?
Yeah, I think it was over. Really? I think it was over a year. In fact, that
it was over a year.
Yeah, it was over a year before the final Hogan and Sting match, and then
God,
what happened during that match and after that, I don't want to talk about. But yeah, the whole NWO versus Sting buildup was over a year.
It was that long? God.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I had a bigger appetite for it back then because I remember that build-up, but I don't remember it being that long. I guess so. Shit, man. Damn. He's starting to become like Dragon Ball Z. Starting to become the Nappa arc here.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I disagree. It's Sting. Yeah. You're never going to get tired of Sting. I can't get tired of Sting. He's the best.
I'm not tired of Sting. I'm just tired of them not really doing anything with it. The Team Taz is always great, so we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
So they announced that we in 2 weeks at Beach Break, Thunder Rosa is going to take on Britt Baker. I'm rooting for Britt. Saying.
Me too.
Yeah. So we've got a meeting with the Elite, and the Young Bucks are at Kenny Omega's house, and Marvez teleports in, and he says, like Kenny Omega's here, and like, what the hell are you doing?
His house, obviously.
Like, what the hell are you doing here? And so the Bucks are like, just come with us. So Nakazawa answers the door, and it looks like he's Kenny's assistant now. So they go into some kind of room. They walk through a bunch of hallways in a room, and they're like, oh, crap, look at this. So there's an oil painting of Kenny and Don Callis in like bodybuilding bodies with no shirts and all greased up.
And like, so
it's like,
odd.
It's like, okay. So Callis appears. He says that was a birthday gift for Kenny. And they're asking him, like, well, what about all that crap last week where, we were supposed to come out, but the Good Brothers came out instead. And he says, it was the production truck. And Callis says Kenny's not here and he's unable to attend. And the Bucks are like, this is his own house? He's like, yeah. So the Young Bucks say, he hasn't been picking up his phone. And Callis says, we changed the number. And he tells Nakazawa to take Marvez to the dungeon. And Callis cuts them a check to, I guess, compensate them for their friendship with Kenny Omega. And Matt says, we made that last week. And Callis cuts them another check because, you guys are the merch guys. And Matt says, you can't buy a friendship. You can't put a price on a 12-year friendship. And Callis says, you guys were holding Kenny back. And Matt says, well, you know what? We used to work for the company you're the VP of, and these checks aren't good anyway. They rip up the checks. And so they start threatening Callis, and Callis walks back, and his suit covers the camera, and he tells the Bucks, don't you take your anger out on me, and then he screams, ah! And that's the end.
We'll see what happens.
So it's pretty much well implied that the Bucks kicked his ass. Yeah.
This was a great segment. Callis is awesome. He had an answer for everything.
Yep.
It was perfect.
A smart ass answer for everything.
Yeah, it was so good. I don't know where this. Well, I guess it's definitely leading towards a rift between Kenny and the Bucks, but I don't know if we're gonna get there or how we're gonna get there because there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure
yeah.
the Bucks are gonna be. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be fighting with Gallows and Anderson sooner
At
than
some point.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got Pretty Peter Avalon versus Cody. So I guess he's no longer the librarian. I didn't know. I don't watch Dark, so I don't know. So I guess he's kind of like he's a mix of Ravishing Rick Rude and Val Venus.
Yeah.
And
It's weird.
I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say his physique is just a smidgen less impressive than Ravishing Rick Rude's was. Just a little. Anyway, Cody comes out with his new Snoop Dogg remix song. It doesn't really fit him at all, but I guess, Snoop Dogg's his friend now, and, they get clout from having Snoop Dogg do one of their songs, so it's all good. He immediately hits Crossroads, and then Jade Cargill's music hits, because apparently this is what AEW thinks we want to watch. Jade Cargill. And she does nothing but just stand on the stage and look at Cody. So this allows Peter to get a low blow on Cody. Cargill laughs and leaves. And then Peter starts working the knee. They go to break. Back from break, Cody is just beating his ass again. He's not really having too much of a difficult time with Peter Avalon. He eventually locks on a figure four. Peter Avalon slaps Cody, and then Cody looks like he's going to slap him, but then Peter just taps. So I don't know. Like, this wasn't very good. I mean, Cody's offense looks good and all, but it's just like...
So the outcome was never in doubt.
Yeah, the outcome is never in doubt. Nobody in their right mind would ever expect that, even with this Jade Cargill interference crap, did anybody think Peter was actually going to beat Cody, but...
Short of an anvil falling out of the sky and hitting Cody like some kind
I still don't think Cody would have lost in that scenario, but this Jade Cargill thing, AEW, please stop. Figure out something else for her to do, because no, this is not working. Sorry, it isn't.
That was probably the worst part of Dynamite for me, honestly.
It easily was the worst part of Dynamite for me.
What? Why? Like you said, like, she's so overexposed and she's doing nothing. Nothing. Brandy's not here. Like, it's dumb. Ugh.
It's just stupid all around. Anyway, next up we've got FTR. Tully says the ratings are out. They're number 1. Jurassic Express bursts in, and Jungle Boy says, "You know what? I learned something about me. I can beat you guys." So they start jaw-jacking. Next week it's Jungle Boy versus Dax. And Luchasaurus says he will be at ringside and no one will get involved. So that was a pretty short segment. It was good.
It was fine. It built up the match for what it needed to be.
Anything else to add about that? Yeah, no. I mean, there's nothing really to say about this. This was pretty much just build up Jungle Boy versus Dax next week, which should be pretty good. I think Jungle Boy will get like an upset win.
Oh,
keep this going.
You think that'll lead to the Luchasaurus Jungle Boy versus FTR?
Yeah, maybe. Or, I think he'll get a upset and they'll continue on with FTR versus Jurassic Express. Yeah. So next up, we've got Jon Moxley, and he's just in action, and we find his opponent is Nick Camarado, and they show his record is 0-2. So why the hell is this guy facing Jon Moxley on Dynamite? But we get an answer from JR, who says nobody wanted to face Jon Moxley, which I call BS and a half on. Are you serious? Nobody wanted to face Jon Moxley? Eddie Kingston, Lance Archer,
Brian Cage,
MJF, Jericho, Hangman, anybody who wants to rise their stock in the singles competition in AEW. And you're telling me, Hobbs. You're telling me...
Hawk. Yeah.
You're telling me nobody wanted to face Jon Moxley except Nick Camarado? Like, that was such a stupid throwaway line. I don't understand why he said that. That was pointless and dumb, and it really didn't add anything to the match other than it made like the rest of the AEW locker room look like punks. Why wouldn't you want to wrestle Jon Moxley?
Yeah, and not to mention, like,
Cody,
not only just going up the rankings, like you said, it also comes down to the fact that a lot of these guys still have unfinished business with Mox.
Yeah.
If Tony was like, "Hey, you want to wrestle Jon Moxley next week?" It's like, "Hell yeah, I do." Still owe him for last time.
Yeah, especially Eddie Kingston with his personality and his character, right?
Yeah.
I don't get that at all. But anyway, Nick Camarado answers the question that we were all asking ourselves. What would happen if you put Bruiser Brody's face on the Ultimate Warrior's gear with Steve Austin's color scheme? Anyway.
Yeah, that is a question that I was thinking of.
This match was a little bit more competitive than it should have been. He was countering. He kind of went toe-to-toe with Mox for a little bit. Kind of countering Mox moves. He got a fair amount of offense too, but we all knew what was going to happen. Mox was going to win. We just didn't know if it was going to be a paradigm shift or a rear naked choke or a bulldog choke or whatever. But anyway, there was a fireman's carry, and Mox countered into a rear naked choke, and he puts out Nick Camarado, and that was the end. Thoughts on the match itself?
I'm actually kind of glad it wasn't just a squash match.
Really?
They got this huge guy out there. I know, you want Mox to be, as a promotion, I mean, not you specifically. You want Mox to be strong and powerful, obviously, because he's a former AEW champ, so he shouldn't be taken down by some random jobber. But this guy was pretty good considering his size, so I get that they wanted to give him a little bit of a debut without him looking completely, outclassed. There was one point that I really loved when Mox did the clothesline on him, and his face was like, because he was completely unfazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. You don't really see that kind of like animated look from Mox at all in his matches. So
by the way,
I like the match for what it was. Yeah.
Going off on a little bit of a side road here. Looks like you've got a little bit of a new setup back there. It looks like you got rid of those other things. Oh, well, we still see Godzilla, and then now
I just left him there.
We've got a
Lego Ninjago.
Lego Ninjago. Is that what is just like a ninja dojo or something?
Yeah, it's one of the sets. It's actually a temple. It's called the Fire Temple.
Oh, okay.
One of my wife's friends was getting rid of her kids' stuff, and they said, "You want these Lego?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Very good. And you built that like recently?
It was half built, so
okay.
I just found the rest of the pieces and built it. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thanks.
Shout outs to Lego.
Yeah, agreed. It's missing some stuff, but it's close enough to what the final product looked like.
Okay. But now Mox Mox is on the mic, and he says that anything can happen on Dynamite. Things are getting crazy. He doesn't know who's in the Bullet Club. He doesn't know who's in the Elite. He doesn't know who's from Impact. And, Kenny brought in his little frat brothers, but he says it's all good. It just makes it more fun. And he lists down a lot of verbs and adjectives, but it's just pretty much more people for Mox to beat up and destroy. So he says all roads in pro wrestling lead through me. He gets off the mic, poses, talks to the crowd, gets in the camera's face, and he mouths, "I'm getting that motherfucker back." Did you catch that?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. So always, I thought it was another 10 out of 10 from Mox. Always tremendous. I don't know about you.
Great
What'd
promo.
you think?
He's so good. Here's the thing too about Mox, right? Like, obviously he just kind of improvises this as he goes on. It's not really scripted as far as I can tell. And the crazy thing was he was able to keep up his cadence and just come up with this on the fly after he just had a match, know. He wasn't winded or anything. Like, he just out there like just laying it in, just putting it out there. It was great. Awesome promo.
The best part about Jon Moxley is that he has credibility. Because not only do you believe it's kind of just him talking, it's kind of the truth, not just about pro wrestling, but you believe he's going to do all the things he says because he always does. He says, I'm going to do this, and then he does it. So he says he's going to beat everybody's ass, and then he's going to beat Kenny's ass, and you're like, you know what, eventually he is going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be sooner or later or if he's going to get the belt back, but eventually he is going to do it. And that's what's great about Moxley, and I still to this day don't know where the hell this guy came from. Just popped out of the blue. It's like, this is the best second best pro wrestler in the world, and no idea where the hell this guy came from.
He looks a lot like Dean Ambrose, though, don't you think? Just with a beard. I mean, just with a beard.
Yeah. Dean Ambrose is like 100, like 30, 40 pounds lighter than him, though.
You don't think Dean Ambrose could have put on some pounds and grow a beard?
No, I don't.
From Jon Moxley. You know these guys, they throw around these wrestling names.
I don't think that happened at all. Why would you come, like, his name is Dean Ambrose. Why would you come to another wrestling company and change your name to Jon Moxley?
Possibly because that name is trademarked and owned by another rival promotion.
But that's his name. His name is Dean Ambrose. Anyway, Dasha is in the back with Eddie Kingston and the boys. And next week, it's Eddie versus Lance Archer. And Dasha asks, well, how do you prepare for Lance Archer? And Eddie says, I don't prepare, I just fight. And then Lance Archer shows up. And they start jaw-jacking, and they agree to do it one-on-one next week with no interference from Jake Roberts or the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny. Nice, tight little segment. Very good. What do you think?
Agreed. I got straight to the point. Should be a banger of a match. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. So I know we've discussed this before, but there's just so much going on between, Lance, the boys, and Death Triangle. I don't know where this is going. I mean, we're looking at a triple threat at some point. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, as we can see, I think the Death Triangle is going to be occupied with something else instead of Eddie Kingston and the boys.
Yes, foreshadowing.
Coming up very soon. Yeah. But then we've got Alex Marvez talking to Kenny Omega, and Alex Marvez says, we were at your house. And Kenny's like, what the hell? Is nothing sacred? Get the hell out of here. And he goes into his locker room. He sees Callis with the bruise and the black eye, and Callis lets slip, on accident that it was Nick and Matt, and Kenny's freaking out. It was Nick and Matt, and then Marvez teleports into the locker room and says, hey, so are you admitting that it was Nick and Matt who beat you up? And they kick Marvez out of the locker room. So it's like, okay, that was cool. I don't know what you thought.
So the segment for itself was fine. Callis's, cowardice and his back and forth was perfect for his character. The one thing, and I wanted to ask your opinion on this, was it obvious that the wounds were makeup, right? Yeah. Now, do you think that they made it so, okay, this is kind of fourth wall breaking, kind of, but do you think they made the makeup purposely bad or something, or noticeable?
I thought it actually looked good.
Oh, you thought it looked good?
Yeah.
Oh,
I knew it was I knew it was makeup. I was like, I mean, for makeup, I thought it was fine. But I know where you're going with this. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, I was wondering, did he just put on that fake makeup to make it look like he actually really got beat up, so that he could blame Nick and Matt?
Like Nick and Matt didn't actually beat him up, but he put on this makeup to try to get Kenny to, be on his side, and So I don't think so. I think Nick and Matt just beat him up, and the makeup was
so they really beat him up.
I mean, you never know. It could turn out that it was like you said. Fake. It could be fake. We don't know, but I just took it as what it was presented as. Yeah, he actually did get beat up by Nick and Matt, because then he screamed too, right? Ah! He had that such a such a what a wussy scream, right? Ah!
Oh, let's not get out. Ah!
Is that the same guy on the painting with the rip
with the ripped 8-pack there?
Yeah. But, so next up, we've got Matt Sydal and Top Flight versus Matt Hardy and Private Party, and they say that Private Party actually was on Impact this week, and they defeated Sabin and Storm to become the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championship. So it turns out Matt Hardy's crap is working. I mean, within 2 weeks, now they're the number one contenders for another company's tag team championship. So it's I guess that 30% paid off, huh?
Yeah, it's working.
Anyway, this match, if you like high flying and acrobatic moves, then this was not the match for you. I'm just kidding. This was the match for you. So, story of this match is Matt is pretty much telling Private Party what to do. At one point, Quen wanted to tag in, but Matt says no. So Quen gets aggressive. He gets the advantage, and then he tags in Cassidy. Cassidy runs in. He takes out all the corners. They do a triple team. There was a cool triple team Boston Crab by Top Flight and Matt Sydal. And then they go to break. So back from break, Seidel is in there with Matt Hardy. They take control of Seidel. He finally hits the hot tag onto Darius. Matt Hardy, and then Darius runs wild. They all fight, but Matt Hardy eventually hits the side effect. Matt Hardy looked like he was in slow motion compared to the other 5 guys in this match.
Yeah.
But he hits the side effect on all 3 guys, and he tries to pin all 3 at the same time, but he does not. So he gets a 2 count on all 3, and JR says, well, that's a 6.
That's a 6.
Like, okay. So Dante hits a front flip into Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Matt Hardy dumps Darius off the top. Ref tries to get Matt out of the ring, but then Cassidy hits Dante with a chair in the ribs, and Cassidy smiles. And then Mark Quinn looks at Cassidy like with a confused look on his face, but then he smiles, and he hits the shooting star press for the 3. And they say, well, you can't argue with results. And you guess you can't. So it looks like Private Party has bought into the big money Matt philosophy, and now they are in fact bad guys. What did you think of this? What did you think of this match?
It was good. It was everything I expected it to be. I kind of wanted a little bit more. I guess I'm being selfish, but there was a lot of high flying spots, which I totally expected. One thing I will say, and you kind of brought it up yourself, Matt Hardy should not really be.
Nah, he's good. He's still good. He's still a legend.
He's great, and he's still a legend. But to be used in these types of matches, you gotta be able to keep up, and it's difficult. You know, he took one. I was really worried for him when he took that tope suicida from Dante.
Okay.
Oh, I was like, it looked like he really got hurt because. I mean, he came at him full force, and he ran right into the barricades. I thought he hurt his knee. I thought he hurt his neck. I was like, Matt Hardy should not be taking hits like that. I know he had to have signed off on it. Like, yeah, I'll take that dive, but it's like, no, man, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah, I think he's I don't think he's that old. I think he's still in his early 40s. So.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's had a long career of.
Yeah,
doing extremely dangerous and crazy things. So
him and his brother, yeah. I mean, they've been doing this. They've been doing the craziest moves from 20 years out already now, which is crazy. Yeah.
So after the match, Matt Sydal and Darius do not like what happened to Dante. So they get in Private Party's face, and then they get the Thunder Roasted treatment. They're talking shit, and then they get their ass beat, and that's the end of that. So it looks like they're pretty much cementing that Private Party are now bad guys, which I don't kind of agree with, but what are you going to do? I mean, I feel like Private Party are natural good guys, people you want to cheer, especially Isaiah Cassidy. His personality is totally like someone you want to cheer for, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not against it. They seem to be doing okay as bad guys. I liked it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's almost too many bad guys though, so we'll see.
Yeah. But I'm gonna make a prediction here. So this is my takeaway from this match. Much like the Hart Foundation for the British versus the British Bulldogs, the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express, the Hardys and Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys, and the Usos versus the New Day. Top Flight and Private Party are gonna go down as an all-time classic tag team rivalry one day. Market word. I don't think that's like a big bold prediction, and they're like, what are you talking about? No one can see that, but yeah, I think Top Flight and Private Party one day are going to be talked about as one of the best tag team rivalries in all of professional wrestling.
I can see that. They're very similar in style, and they both have something to prove. So that could be a good rivalry, big time.
I think it's gonna happen. Hopefully it does, because I like both of those teams.
Yeah, agreed. That'll be a good running rivalry. We'll see. Good for both teams.
So MJF busts into the Inner Circle's locker room, but I thought he was in the Inner Circle, so
yeah.
I don't know. But he busts into the Inner Circle's locker room. He says Jericho's the leader. Sammy gets in his face, and he says, well, things would be different if I was running things. MJF says he loves Sammy and respects him, and he gives his opinion. MJF says, like, we're all gonna We all gotta stick together and be family. He fist bumps the other guys, but Sammy says they aren't there yet. Anything to add?
No, it was a perfect segment. You can see that MJF, they every week now, what is this, the fourth week? He just keeps planting those seeds, right?
Yep.
You know, he keeps trying to be the good guy, and we know it's completely out of character for him. You know, had you just seen MJF today on, you would think he's like one of the most stand-up guys on the roster, right? You know,
No,
he's shaking your hand across the table, but he's giving you the finger underneath
the middle finger under the table.
The middle finger underneath it. Yeah.
So next up, we've got Leila Hirsch versus Penelope Ford in the weekly semi-main event women's match. We've got Orange Cassidy in the crowd. Chuck Taylor comes out as in his butler costume, but now he's Charles Taylor. Ooh.
Charles.
So this match was pretty much like all women's matches. And this is the problem. You don't treat these women matches as important, so therefore the crowd, the audience, does not feel they're important. And we'll get to that in a second, but there really wasn't much to them. There's no build-up, you know, like Leila Hirsch and Penelope Ford, like, they have no... Do we have any reason to think that Leila Hirsch and Penelope Ford have any real reason to wrestle each other other than they need a... They need together. Other than they need a women's match on Dynamite every week, so... I don't know. I mean, I think they deserve better. Anyway, there was one part in the match where Charles was advised to trip Leila, and he does. And then the end is a pump kick to the side of Leila Hirsch. Kip grabs Leila's boot, and Penelope gets the win. Whatever. Do you have anything you want to add about the match itself?
No, well, I think you summed it up pretty well at the beginning that these matches are just kind of thrown together because they need women's matches.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge mistake on their part because this match doesn't have any significance, like you said. There's really no reason for them to be beefing, as far as I know. Neither of them are going to be challenging for the belt, either belt, you know, if you count the NWA belt too as part of it. This was really only to further a storyline that had nothing to do with either woman, which
had
is
nothing
crazy.
to do with Leila Hirsch at all.
Yeah, or Penelope, really, if you look at it.
Yeah.
If it had furthered Penelope's story or something, I get it. Like, oh, she's furthering her rivalry with somebody else or something, whatever. But yeah, like it's just thrown together, and it didn't further anything for either of them. So
yeah,
I don't know.
So pretty much this match was just set up just to have Miro come out and grit the mic, because this is where things actually progress the storyline of AEW. Miro has the mic. He tells Leila, get out of the ring. And then she just gets out of the ring. Although, you know, it's like, I mean, if I was Leila, I wouldn't mess with Miro either. I mean, if I was anybody, I wouldn't mess with Miro unless I was like Brian Cage or something. But, you know, she just she just gets out of the ring. And then, you know, so... He tells Charles to tell Orange that Miro is his best friend now. And Charles does. He says, Miro is my best friend. And they give the thumbs up, the half thumbs up. And Orange Cassidy in the crowd looks sad because he totally believes that Charles is now best friends with Miro and not him and Trent for some reason. It's like, what the hell is this, man? Like, this is... We always go on about this storyline, this whole like best friends versus Miro and Kip. It's so effing stupid. Since when is a butler a slave? Is that like in the job description of a butler? Isn't like a butler just like necessarily a housekeeper? They take care of like the affairs of the house for
errands, that type of stuff. Yeah.
But when do they become a slave? Like when he trips Leila Hirsch and he tells Orange Cassidy, like, Miro's my best friend now. That's a slave. That's not a butler. A butler has... Don't butlers have the right to say, you know what, this is not in my job description?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, this storyline really flew off the rails about 6 weeks ago, if I'm being honest. So
it flew off the rails from day one. It's been completely illogical. It started because somebody was mad a video game was broken.
Video game, yeah. Oh, it's only gotten worse since then.
For a fake video game that shouldn't have been out on the damn floor in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with you. Although I will admit, I did get a good chuckle out of the picture of Miro, Chuck, and Kip posing for a selfie after they told Orange that.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. They're like,
I did like I did like that orange looks sad. I was like, what?
Like the Charlie Brown, like the
he's
Charlie
like, oh,
Brown
man.
blinking away.
Yeah. So now in the back we've got the Good Brothers, and they're beating up Penta for some reason. I don't know. They're just beating up Penta. Omega comes in. He starts getting in on the action. They beat the crap out of him. They start choking Penta with a cord. Then Kenny takes off his boot. He shoves the boot in his eye, and that's pretty much it. Like nobody came to help Penta. Phoenix and Pac or Moxley. Nobody came out. They just beat him up for like a minute, and that was it. It was like, okay. Anything?
Yeah, where did they catch him? Was he just going to the bathroom or something, and they just randomly beat him up?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would have been funny if they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, you're not Nick or Matt."
Yeah. So
it was.
I don't know. So we've got the lineup for next week: Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer. Cody responds to Shaq. I'm sure that's gonna be captivating television. Dax versus Jungle Boy, and the Young Bucks and Good Brothers versus the Dark Order. Ooh. So, in 2 weeks at Beach Break, we've got Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker and a tag team battle royal for the title shot at the Young Bucks at the pay-per-view. But up next, we've got the Inner Circle Tag Team Championship. Tag Team Challenge, not Championship. My bad. And then they announced the Women's World Title Championship title eliminator.
Coming soon.
Okay.
They don't even have a date for it. That's how important it is.
We'll see. So this was this upcoming match was my match of the night. This was so good. This is exactly what AEW needs, because it's a big match, because you are never gonna see these guys wrestle, technically, because they're the Inner Circle, and this is the only time we're gonna see them wrestle each other in storylines. So this is a big deal. And Sammy Hagar come out, and they get a little shout out video from the actual Sammy Hagar of Van Halen fame, and Sammy and MJF start, but MJF tags in Jericho. Sammy gets the upper hand. He dumps Jericho to the springboard backflip into the ring and poses. That was pretty cool. Santana and Hager get in there, and from this point on is just action. People tagging in, they're beating each other up. They're actually really going at each other hard, it seems like, but it's pretty obvious who the best team in this match is. Sammy and Hager. You agree? You agree with that?
I thought it was Santana and Ortiz.
Okay. Yes. Obviously.
Yeah,
Sammy Hager, MJF, and Jericho. I mean, they're it's not like they're bad or anything, but yeah. You can obviously tell who's the real tag team in this match, and it's Santana and Ortiz. So they get a big tag in from Hager, and he's in, and he runs wild on everyone. Sammy hits a cutter on MJF, and then right in the middle of the match, they announced that Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Jon Moxley, Pac, and Phoenix is the main event of Beach Break. Like, okay,
that was a weird time to announce that, don't you think?
Yeah.
What? Why are they announcing this now? Couldn't they have saved this for next week?
Yeah. Tony Khan? He's usually a little faster than that, so they should have announced this right after they saw the Good Brothers.
Penta getting beat up.
Yeah, it was like Tony Khan just announced the main event for Beach Break. It's like that's how fast he usually acts, right?
Yeah, the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega are beating up Penta, and we just got word from Tony Khan.
Yeah. So Sammy hits a top rope Spanish fly on Ortiz. Jericho has Floyd, but Hager kicks him into next week. That looked like a brutal kick. MJF gets the diamond ring. Hager punches him into next week. Hager hits a double clothesline on Santana and Ortiz. Jericho hits like a lion salt on Sammy.
Kind of. Yeah.
He hits a code breaker on Ortiz, but he kicks out. Hager bomb and senton on MJF, but no, Ortiz break it up. So Sammy hits Jericho with Go to Hell. Sammy goes for the Go to Hell on MJF, but Wardlow is up on the apron. He bumps into them, and MJF rolls up Sammy with a handful of tights and gets the W for Chris Jericho and MJF. And I really like this match, although the result I did not like, because it's obviously should have been Santana and Ortiz. But what did you think?
This was a fun match. It checked all the boxes. It was my match of the night too. Everyone had their spots. They other than other than Santana and Ortiz being the best team, I think Sammy got a good amount of the spotlight, which is good. Because he was pulling off all his moves without issue. He looked great. He pulled off some crazy high flying moves too. Yeah, the ending, I don't know, like it obviously pushes the storyline though. That, MJF says one thing and he goes off and does another, right?
Yeah.
And they're really trying to make Sammy the weak link here because MJF was the one that actually pinned Sammy with an illegal move of all things too, right?
Well,
and Sammy's gonna tell everyone like
the same move how he got into the inner circle and how he beat Jericho too.
That's true. You're absolutely right. And it's obviously going to be on tape, so that there's not anything that MJF will be able to say that that never happened.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
Interesting, isn't it? But yeah. I don't know. One
thing that, and I get that they're constrained by time. I just wish there was about 30 more seconds, at the end there, because it just really cut out. Like,
yeah, I guess
what are we watching here?
They just ran out of time, and so they just had to cut it. But yeah, overall, I actually really enjoyed Dynamite. Other than Cody and Peter Avalon.
You mean Jade Cargill?
Well, yeah, she was in there too. I try to forget about her. I mean, other than that, and really like Moxley and Nick Commoretto, like Moxley's interview after was really good, but the match itself was kind of like eh. But other than that, like I thought this was a really good Dynamite, really fun show. I don't know, what do you think?
I actually didn't like it as much as the last couple of weeks. Kind of above average for me. It was okay.
Really?
It did what it needed to do. But the reasons you mentioned, like the Cody Peter Avalon one, the best friends, because let's be honest, that's what that really was. That was a best friends match, friends rivalry match.
Yeah, Leila Hirsch had nothing to do with anything. Poor Leila Hirsch.
There was about 2 or 3 segments, 2 or 3 matches that were like, why? Why? What does that have to do with anything? So,
yep.
I like the promos better than a lot of the matches, honestly. The Young Bucks and the Don Callis one was great.
Yeah, that was really good. But anything else you wanna add before we wrap this up then?
No, that's it for me, man.
Okay. That's it for us. Another AEW recap in the books. We will be back next week recapping AEW, and until then you can check us out on all the links and all the stuff you can see in the description. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.
Peace out, guys. Thanks.